Just a normal day in Scrap Mechanic. Gonna go pick my creation up on a lift now and... Oh, wait a minute. This is different. Something's different about this. Turns out there's a little update on the test branch of Scrap Mechanic right now that has a little bit more going on than it lets on. The patch notes claim it's mostly about mod tool updates, which is something that I'm not familiar with. I don't do mod making, so I wasn't really gonna make a video about it. But as I went in and explored a little bit more, turns out there are some other pretty cool differences as well that I wanted to highlight in this video. Not only with just the regular gameplay, but also, somewhat frustratingly, with the tile building and world building, which is frustrating because I've just done a whole process of tile building and world building involving the community, and now it is suddenly way easier and has a lot more possibilities after I've already finalized everything. But we'll get into that in a little bit. First, look at this awesome new lift animation for picking up vehicles. It's awesome. And plus, you may notice that there's some new UI hints and tutorial stuff for controls, like press E to use and whatever controls you have set up. I have my lift on my thumb buttons for my mouse, so it's really easy to use the lift while I'm playing around with other buttons. And on top of that, even the building has changed. Look at the new block aesthetic as you start building. I like that this is actually a lot better, even though that's not the texture of the blocks. It more easily lets you see how many blocks you've dragged out in either dimension. And this makes counting much easier. Although, to be honest, I think the easiest solution would be right where my cursor is, just to have a little bit of like a 16 by 16, 10 by 11, whatever the measurements you happen to be. I think they should just show a little indicator next to your cursor, so you don't have to actually count stuff. And of course, this applies to deleting as well. You just see a red grid, which is pretty cool. Oh man, look at that. I love this. I love this aesthetic now. So now it also says something about particle effects and lighting effects. I don't really know how to tell what the lighting effect differences are, but I do see a difference with the thruster particles. It is pretty subtle, but there is a difference. And one of the main differences I see is when you first power up the thrusters, they have more of like this bloom effect happening before the thrust settles down into its more jaggedy effect. You see, like it's more puffy to start off with. If I just tap the button here, you can see all this puffiness, but then if I hold it, it kind of zeroes into more of a conical stream. So yeah, I did notice that difference with the thrusters, but as far as other differences, I'm not too sure. I do feel like the ghost images of parts that you're about to put down look a little bit better. I'm pretty sure they do. It is kind of hard to tell. At least the bearing one looks different to me. All right, so let's hop over into the more frustrating of the updates, the tile and world builder stuff, because some of these updates are pretty game changing in how these features work. Okay, welcome to the new tile builder. So, all of this entire screen is very, very different. It looks a lot cleaner. It's a lot easier to see. You can customize and drag pretty much anything anywhere you want to create your own workspace, which is pretty nice. But this over here, this is a pretty massive change. So as I place assets down here, like these rocks or these tree things or whatever, there's all kinds of new stuff. I haven't really used the tile builder that much recently, but you can see it starts to build a list so you can easily select and find all of the different things that you've put into the world. There's even a right-click option. You can like right-click, you can select all. So I can just select literally every single thing that I've placed down and drag it all at once, which is pretty cool. There's also a bunch of transform controls. So like if I move this thing around in some weird direction, I don't like it, I can just be like reset and it puts it back to a 0 point. Also a really cool function, especially for stuff like placing rocks down or whatever, for you mountain builders and things like that. If you press the U button, it just gives it a completely random rotation, so you can just add easy variety. And then if I press Shift U, then it'll just put it in a random rotation on its like standard axis, which is pretty cool. Definitely useful to give that immersive randomization for some things instead of having to go and literally rotate by like little degrees here and there, every single individual rock that you place to make it not look like just a copy and paste. Another really useful addition are these little squares here. So rather than just going on individual planes like this, if I want to go in this 45-degree angle, I can just click this and now I can move about that plane in both directions, rather than just literally one straight line at a time. Another great thing is up at the top here, it has indicators to tell you what is what and what you have selected. One of the really annoying things that frustrated me about the tile builder, especially before this, was there was no indicator telling you whether snap to grid was on or off. But now when you press the button, it'll tell you right here whether you have it on or off, which is really, really useful. All right, and then one of the more crazy differences that I wasn't expecting is if you go to create a new tile, There is now an XXL option. And I was like, wait a minute, we didn't have that option before, did we? So if I select the XXL option, like, it is so massive. Here, I'm gonna place my character model in it by pressing space. So now there's a character right down there. That is your little dwarf character. You see it? Do you see it yet? Can you see it? Can you see the little dwarf character? Do you see him? Can you see him? He's right there. Do you see him? There he is. So this is like practically an entire world. So you may be wondering, if we have these XXL tiles that are pretty much the size of a standard world, does that mean the world builder lets you build bigger worlds? And does that mean we could have had a bigger Mars surface for the Mars series? Unfortunately, yes. And I don't know what to do with this information. Let me go to the world builder and show you exactly what I mean. All right, so now this is the world builder, and you may notice that it now lets you select different world sizes. Before, there was just one standard world size. And the interesting thing about this is I'm pretty sure that the standard world size that we used to have isn't on here. I think it's between 16 by 16 and 32 by 32. I'm just gonna select 4 by 4 just out of curiosity here. And here you can see, here's the tile browser. One thing I think is a huge oversight on the tile browser, if you go to filters and tile size, it just gives you small, medium, and large. But you may remember, we just saw small, medium, and large, XL, and XXL. So there's no sorting for the extra large and extra large tiles. But you can also sort by user-generated tiles, which would be great to find the Mars tiles that I've subscribed to. And also survival tiles, which I guess there are no survival tiles. And then creative tiles, which there are new creative tiles, actually. Look at all these water-based creative tiles. This is pretty cool. So you can create your own water edges and things like that, which we did not have access to this stuff before. Also, these tiles, these fence-based tiles, which I guess they have the border fences. You can now place those in creative worlds. I'm actually I didn't even see this when I was browsing it out before the video. What is this tile? Oh, that's interesting. But there's a couple other really cool things I want to point out with this builder that makes me kind of annoyed that I didn't wait until this update came out before starting this community series. But yeah, I'm gonna load up right now. This was the initial Mars showcase world where I just showed off all of the awesome tiles that I was looking at from you guys. And this fills up the entire standard creative world size. Like, you could not make a world bigger or smaller than this. But now watch the difference here. When I say new world and I select 32 by 32, take a close look at the size of the world you see right now. And then when I load this in, look at how much more space that gives us. To give some perspective here, this is an extra large tile. I can fit so many of these extra large tiles on the map. Before, I think I could barely fit maybe 3 of these next to each other. So this allows room for a whole nother extra large tile. But on top of that, you're probably wondering, how big is an extra large tile now that we have all this extra space here? So this is the size of an extra large tile. It is basically twice the size of an extra large tile. Like, look at that, and look at the way it's rendering this rock. All I did was put a giant rock in the middle of a colored patch so I could see easily how big this thing was compared to everything else. But yeah, if I had known that these changes were gonna come to the tile builder and world builder, I probably would have held off on doing a tile and world building based community series. But we're kind of already in, and plus this update is just a test branch right now, and it actually breaks old worlds, or it's not stable for old worlds if we load them into the test branch. So even though it's here, it's not technically something that we could probably use right now and bring that into the main part of the game yet. But it definitely does go to show at what is going to be coming. And another amazing thing with this is there's a brand new function here called Paint Ground in the World Builder. And this basically allows you to paint in randomly generated biomes. So if I do desert and I just start painting, like, look at this. It fills in kind of randomized desert stuff. And as I paint over it, you can see it adjusts everything along the borders. So there's trees that are automatically bordering the desert, but as soon as you start filling in more desert, it moves the trees out of the desert and then just onto the borders to create a nice, like, barrier. And then as you fill it in, you can see, even if I create like a circle here, you can see the middle is like trees. But if I fill it in, it fills it in with desert and rocks, which is really interesting. And then what is the water? Oh man, you can create really nice looking ponds and lakes just like that. We could, oh, look at this. Look how easy it is to make a boat course. You don't have to go into the tile editor to build a boat course anymore. You could just create a whole thing like, oh, this is amazing. The water one is so good. And that's just randomly painted. If I go back and do clear, I can just go ahead and add regular ground back in now. That is so nice. All right, what else we got? We got field. So these are like the hay fields. That's pretty cool. We have burnt forest, which, you know, is gonna have all the ember trees and everything that you can get ember from. We have autumn, which has the cotton. Man, this world is so big. We have forests, which is where sometimes you get like farm bots and stuff in the survival mode. So basically, we have randomly generated survival terrain abilities in Scrap Mechanic in our own world builder. Like, this is so nice. Look at this. This is the meadow version. We have all these random rocks and everything. I wonder if there's like beehives that could be on these rocks and stuff. I mean, to be fair, this function wouldn't really be that useful for the Mars world itself, but let me put a Mars tile. Yeah, so yeah, that just overrides the painting. The painting doesn't really affect that at all. However, one thing appears to be missing from this that the other world builder had, and I cannot find the setting anywhere. We have erase tiles, we have move tiles, and this and that. But there seems to not be a free placement tool, because there used to be the ability to take a tile and then place it overlapping with a previous tile and have it ignore borders, but now it does not let you do that, and I don't see an option to enable that anymore. And it was kind of useful in some ways. I did use it sometimes, but we don't seem to have that option anymore. And I don't know if that was intentional or not. So yeah, although the timing was a little bit unfortunate when it came to the Mars series, I am very excited to see the changes that are happening, and I'm a big fan of the changes so far, and I can't wait to see more. And none of this is including any of the mod maker parts of the update, which was actually kind of the main focus of the update. So this is just all of the peripheral stuff, and I'm really liking the direction that it's going. I am definitely looking forward to seeing some more stuff that is gonna make this just creative possibilities so much wider and so much easier to accomplish. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. What would you do with some of these new features? And do you think there's anything that I missed when it came to like overlooking some of these possibilities? This is just what I was able to find in this overview. So there may be some updates and stuff that I didn't notice. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, you'll probably enjoy some other stuff on the channel that you can find on the end screen right here. Hope this video has earned your subscription. Anyway, this has been ScrapMan, and I'll see you next time. Bye.